Bella Vista Community Television presents Senior Happenings. Today our host is Tricia Ayers, and her host is Shelli Carson, and we will be talking about hearing, or audiology. And now to the set for our program.
Welcome to the show, everybody. And yes, my name is Tricia Ayers, and I will be your host today for Senior Happenings. Very excited that we have this programming here, and I would like to ask you, if you are watching this on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, and then you can receive all the wonderful programming that we have to offer here at Bella Vista Community Television. Also, you can check out the donate buttons and also volunteering if you're in our area and would like to be part of this wonderful nonprofit. Very excited today. I am joined in the studio by Shelli Carson, and she is an audiologist with Blue Wave Hearing. Shelli, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, I was reading 27 years of audiology.
Yes.
That's a lot of stories, I'm sure.
Yes.
Now, how did you decide you wanted to be an audiologist, and what does the training look like, and where did you go to school?
So I graduated from Baylor University with my undergraduate, and then I got my master's in science from UAMS. And so I went and got my bachelor's first and didn't work for like a year, kind of got out and decided what I wanted to do. Went into speech pathology. We had to take an audiology class, and it just clicked. My grandmother was born deaf in one ear and hard of hearing in the other, and then just been around different hearing impaired individuals my whole life, and it just kind of come together for me. So
how long is school for somebody going into audiology?
Now I think it's like 7 or 8 years because you have to get your doctorate, so it's a little bit longer than when I went through it.
That is a long time.
It is.
That's a lot of school.
It is.
It really
yes.
is. I think sometimes we don't realize how long our doctors and professionals go to school to train. Plus your 27 years of experience.
Yes.
So I was looking through this wonderful bio that I was sent, and I was, could you tell us a little bit about, you did some volunteer work for some nonprofits and got to go to both Santo Domingo and Puerto Vallarta, very nice locations.
Yes, it was.
So when you went, what exactly did you do while you were there?
So in Puerto Vallarta, what it is that in these communities, there's a lot of individuals that need assistance with hearing, and they cannot afford it. So I work with a company called Starkey Hearing Foundation, and they set up the mission, they call them mission trips. And so I was just one of the persons there just kind of helping to organize, and I didn't really have hands-on with fitting the hearing aids. But when I went to Santo Domingo, actually had some hands-on. My daughter went with me, and so she actually was in there doing hands-on and putting the molds in the ears, and it was good for her. It was really a neat experience.
With that, do you take the hearing aids with you, or are you supplied with the hearing aids? What happens?
Through the Starkey Hearing Foundation, they actually supply the hearing aids, so they're kind of there and ready for us. There's a lot that goes on pre-hand, like making impressions for the molds so that when we get there we can actually fit them. And actually the Starkey Hearing Foundation is also in America, so like I worked through the clinic to assist people here in the area that can't afford it to receive assistance with getting hearing aids. They have to meet certain requirements and everything like that.
Does the foundation seek out audiologists, or do you as an audiologist go, I would really like to do this? A little bit of both?
A little bit of both, but mine was, I would really like to do this.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's bring it back to Blue Wave Hearing. There's 2 locations. There's a Bella Vista location and a Bentonville location. How long have you been with Blue Wave?
I have been there since July of this year.
Oh.
Yes. I had my own clinic, and I sold it and kind of took a beat and then kind of missed it.
Right.
So Yeah,
Well,
it's
good
just
for
very,
you.
very rewarding, and I like what I do.
Well, I know that Molly, who
Yes, she's wonderful.
she sings your praises.
Oh,
Couldn't
you.
sing your praises enough.
Aw,
She was like,
that's
"You love
sweet.
Shelli. She's so great at her job." So let's bring it back to for our seniors here in Bella Vista and Bentonville. We know what an audiologist does. Do we know what an audiologist
I don't
does?
know.
What does an audiologist do?
So, an audiologist, we test hearing. We also look, like we can use this. This is to see how the eardrum's moving, to make sure that there's not any type of fluid behind the eardrums. It kind of helps us, everything that we do, it helps us to know if there's a medical need.
Okay.
And if we need to move forward, like seeing an ENT, an ear, nose, and throat doctor, or further testing needs to be done, or if it's where you need hearing assistance through hearing aids.
So you're gauging different types of hearing
Yes.
loss and what is the reason for it.
Right. We remove wax also, like because sometimes that could just be it. Like if you're not hearing well, it could just be that your ears are full of wax. So we take that out, and a lot of times people are like, oh, I can hear again. And so
I think people are quite apprehensive to come to your
yes.
office for the
Yes.
first time.
Yes.
With everything. And as we age, we try and put things off
Yes.
a little bit too long. I think that's the case. So can hearing loss be genetic?
Absolutely. Yes, there's certain types of hearing loss that's genetic. It runs through the families. Some of the types that are genetics happens more with females compared to males and things like that. You can be born with a hearing loss. So it can be, absolutely.
Okay. Why is it that we have our children and they're tested for hearing at the very beginning, and then we really don't do anything until we start to get up to what age?
Usually when you feel like you can't hear.
Right.
There's not like a certain age, yeah.
Why do we not do hearing screenings?
That's a great question. I don't know. That's a wonderful question.
Because that seems like something that we would do.
I think that, like how dentists are like, yearly and everything like that. I just don't think we've, as a community of audiologists, have just emphasized that, because it affects so many things. Like they have discovered that a hearing loss, if you have it for a certain amount of time and certain degree of hearing loss, can actually cause dementia. And it can cause different things like that. It can cause social isolation in children when they're in school. It can affect their learning abilities. So that's a wonderful question.
Maybe we need to do something
Maybe
about
so.
Start a campaign.
Maybe so.
But I think that should be a regular thing that you do, even if it's every 5 or 10 years.
Exactly.
Just as you continue
You have a
on.
very good point.
Okay. We will get
love
that done.
Yes.
We will organize that. Okay, so moving on, can diet or medication affect your hearing also?
It can. More medication, I would say, than diet necessarily, although like diabetes and different things like that can contribute to hearing loss, but certain medications are ototoxic, and which means that it can cause damage to the actual nerve in the ear, causing hearing loss. A lot of times after you stop taking the ototoxic medication, you can see some return, but a lot of time it depends how long you take it. It can cause permanent damage.
Are there some medications that you could tell us right now that are kind of...
Clindamycin, and just the myosin drugs tend to be more ototoxic than
Okay.
others.
Okay.
And then certain medications can cause ringing in your ears and things like that. Yeah.
What are the top medications that could cause that for people out there?
I don't really know the top
Okay.
medications. I know high blood pressure causes like ringing in the ears and things like that. But aspirin. I'm sorry, aspirin causes ringing in the ears. So they actually did studies. This is interesting. Well, maybe I shouldn't say this on TV, but in certain food franchise places, they apparently were putting aspirin, for the preservative in their hamburgers.
Oh.
which
Okay.
can cause ringing in the ears.
Wow. We have uncovered stuff
Yes.
here. We're starting a campaign and we are uncovering.
Yes.
I love it. We're getting so much done here. So that's very interesting. So I think sometimes people look at hearing and vision and they don't put it together with what medications am I taking? What am I ingesting? All kinds of things. It is all encompassing.
It is.
And you need to look at everything.
Yes.
You can't just treat them as separate things.
Right.
And I think that's something that we need to, especially as we age, because we're generally put on more medications.
Right.
And we need to be cognizant of that it all goes together.
It does.
It all goes together.
Absolutely.
So what can we do as we age to prevent hearing loss ourselves? Are there any things that we can do?
So if, like you were just saying, just be aware of what you're ingesting, the medications and things like that you're taking. You still, even from a young age, it doesn't matter really your age, you want to protect yourself, like we're hearing protection when you're exposed to very loud sounds. And just if you do start noticing a hearing loss, the sooner you treat it, the better. And so, those are kind of the things that I think you can do. And a lot of times you can't, if it's genetic or something like that, you can't really prevent it, but you can get a head start on it so that, because a lot of times when you do have a hearing loss and you're straining to hear, if you think about it, it's kind of like your eyes, you're straining. The longer you wait, the brain gets used to not processing that signal. And then it's like any muscle, it atrophies, if you don't use it, you lose it. So then when you give that information back, it's more difficult for it to start processing the signals again. So the sooner you get help, the better you're going to be in the long run.
I would say that being married to a baby boomer who probably was a musician and went to too many concerts.
Yes.
Teenage girls in the house that were like, please tell Dad to turn down the TV.
Yes.
We are at that point in our house,
Yes.
but there is that, I don't want to go.
Well, I always tell people it's not scary.
Right.
It's not anything really invasive. It's not anything, and you come in, we look in your ears, could be wax. We see if the eardrums we like it should, and we do a hearing test, and then we discuss the results. And everybody, we try to explain how it's affecting things, how it affects the brain, how, it can cause isolation. But at the end of the day, at the end of the appointment, then it's your decision on if you want to move forward, if you want to help yourself hear better. But I always tell people, it's not scary. Not at all.
Not scary at all.
No, just come in. We actually don't charge for a test.
Ooh.
I know.
Okay, hold that thought just
Yes.
a second. We're just going to take a break and we will be right back.
Welcome back. Here is our host, Tricia.
Welcome back from the break, and I am joined in the studio by Shelli Carson, who is an audiologist with Blue Wave Hearing. Shelli,
Yes.
we were talking about, during the break also, at Blue Wave you have what they call a test drive program. Tell us about that, will you?
So this is, I think, genius. I did not do this at my office, and I wish, but we didn't really have the devices then to do this. But what it is so your husband, let's say he comes in and he is tested, and we do find a hearing loss. Then I would say to him, so I can place a set of hearing aids on you today for you to wear in your environment for a couple of weeks. You wear them in all your different environments, no money down, no commitment, nothing. You just wear them, and then you come back in a couple weeks, let me know how you're doing, and if you've noticed a difference. And a lot of times we like to have the spouse or significant other with them because, Hearing is isn't kind of like vision where you can look down and say, you know, I can't see that. Hearing's a little more objective because if someone's talking from behind them and they don't hear it, they don't know that they missed it. So a lot of times the other people around the hearing impaired individual is going to know and realize if they're doing better. So then they come back in and we make any adjustments. They go back out into the world, and then they can let us know if they want to, we call it purchase your forever hearing aids. We have different levels of technology that we can try, so that if they come in and they say, well, you know, I want to try this I want to try this, and if depending on what they say when they come back in, we might know of a different manufacturer that might work better for them. So it allows us as audiology the freedom to try different manufacturers and different technology levels so that the individual can experience it themselves. Because I could sit here and tell you, you're going to hear better, you're going to be involved in conversations better, you're going to be more at ease. At the end of the day, you're not going to feel as fatigued. But until somebody really experiences that, they're not really going to know. So I can say all the words and do the lip service, but when they come back in, they're like, oh yeah. Or if you came back in and said, oh my gosh, I didn't have to repeat so much, and I could turn the TV down, and I'm more relaxed.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Let's talk about, you know, as we see, I deal with a lot of seniors, and we deal with a lot of seniors that go into senior communities
Yes.
and nursing homes, and the social isolation, even when our seniors are in communities, if they cannot hear properly.
Yes.
And I think, as you have said, they just adapt to that and they isolate themselves
Right.
because they don't want to get into group conversation,
Right.
because they're not hearing, and people get frustrated.
Right, right. So I kind of explain it like this a little bit is I used to know Spanish pretty well, and I could communicate, and I could, you know, follow the conversation. And then as I stopped using it some, I could still kind of, but not catch everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like, you know, sometimes I might misinterpret or answer inappropriately. But as I stopped, you know, speaking it and communicating, I found that I really couldn't even follow along. So when I would be in those situations, I would still be sitting there, but it was too hard for me to follow the conversation. So I would mentally just isolate myself from the situation. And I kind of see that kind of the same way with a hearing impairment. At first, you know, you can kind of catch it, but you're going to be missing things. You're going to have to be paying a little more close attention. And then as it gets a little worse, you're like, and then you're frustrated. But then, unfortunately, it'll get to the point where, like you said, they just isolate themselves. And we need that. We need that communication, and we need to communicate with each other, not just for our well-being and mental wellness and happiness, but also our brain, the way that our brain works. We need to keep stimulating that part of the brain for it to work.
And you touched on the fact that hearing loss and dementia
go hand in hand.
Yes.
They, I'm not going to say exactly what year, but I think about maybe 5 years ago that they did find a direct correlation. And I remember I was at a meeting in Pittsburgh, and it was when we were really, this is years ago, when we were really starting to be able to see visually how the brain's stimulated by different, how the brain reacts by different stimuli. And so I think that has led to this discovery. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, okay, it's just, and then when you think about it, logically, it makes so much sense.
Yes.
It's like, okay, that part of the brain's not being stimulated, so it's just
right.
shutting its, like a muscle
right.
in your leg. It's just kind of shutting itself down. And
one other reason to get your hearing tested.
Yes, one other reason that we should do it.
One other reason. Our campaign.
Yes, our campaign.
I love it.
Yes.
Well, we do have coming up the Senior Expo. It's coming up April 21st, and Blue Wave is always part of our
Yes.
Senior Expo.
Yes.
And in the fall, we got to have our expo, but it was outside, so we didn't get to do the hearing
Right.
screenings that you normally get to do.
Right.
So if anybody is thinking and comes to our expo, come around and get your ears tested. I did that one year and was pleasantly surprised that I was okay. And then I will hopefully bring my husband this time.
Yes, do. Yes.
Hopefully he doesn't watch this show. So, but you guys will be there.
Yes, we will.
And that's just a kind of an initial test. If you find something, you
Yes.
will ask people to come into the office to continue the process.
Right. So what we do there is a screening,
Mm-hmm.
and so that if it does show up that there is a hearing loss, then yes, you need to come in and we do more of a comprehensive evaluation.
So how do people, if you do the screening and you say, you should come in, what can people do to be prepared for their appointment?
So a lot of times we can make the appointment right then.
Okay.
We might have somebody with us that can call and make the appointment right then. So just have their calendars out so that we can look to see. And like I said, there's no charge
Okay.
for the hearing exam. So at that time, we don't need insurance information.
Should they know what medications they're on?
Yes. Yes. Like your medications, your history of, hearing loss.
Right.
And family history of hearing loss. And yeah, that's very important.
Good. Know what medications you're on.
Yes.
Please
Yes.
know what medications you're on.
Yes.
So also I would like to touch on, I have teenagers and we have gone full force devices. I have one teen who is constantly got her headphones on, constantly. And sometimes even with the headphones on, the noise canceling, we can hear the music
Oh, wow.
in the car. And we are constantly telling her, turn it down. Please turn
Yes.
it down. So are we going to see more hearing loss from our teens? Because we are earbuds.
So I did, like when I did my thesis, when I was graduating from college,
Yes.
I did, because that was when all that was kind of starting a little more. And at the time, it wasn't loud enough, but I would say that now, and especially if you can hear it and you're in a car,
Yes.
then yes, she needs to turn it down. So I will look. You need to turn down. Your mom is a smart, wise woman. And
Thank you.
you're welcome. And yes, I mean, if that is a trend, I think we will,
Right.
because it depends on how long they do it. I mean, there's a certain decibel level that they have to be encountering for a certain amount of time.
Right.
The louder that it is, the shorter amount of time for it to actually cause permanent damage.
So we're all going to come to the Senior Expo
Good.
and get our ears
Yay. Yeah.
tested. And then we're going to follow up if we need to and come in. And in office, the hearing test is free.
Yes.
Money is always a
I
concern
know.
for people. It's always a concern. If at that point people need hearing aids, is this something that some people it's covered by insurance, it's not covered by insurance? There are different.
So yes. So when you come in, we do check your, what your insurance card is,
Okay.
because so we kind of have a little bit of a head start. Not saying that you had to purchase hearing aids, but just so that
Right.
we're prepared to see if you may have a benefit or not. And so the ladies up front are wonderful. They can usually tell, and so then they'll call and see. There's a lot of people don't know that with their insurance they have certain benefits that can either actually help pay for the hearing aids or provide discounts through managed care systems. And so so we look at that. Now, if they go through what we call a managed care system, then we are not able to provide the test drive.
Okay.
But if they order the hearing aids through that system, because of the discount and because of everything, they have a 60-day trial period.
Okay.
So kind of the same thing. It's just
Right.
kind of different on the front end. Like with once you purchase hearing aids through our clinic, we have a 45-day. So with the managed care, it's a little bit longer test drive. Pretty much all hearing aids come with a 3-year repair, 3-year loss of
Okay.
damage. So so yeah, we would just check and see.
Okay.
what they have. Sometimes it's very
Right.
pleasantly surprised. It's like, and people don't know.
Right. I'm not sure anybody can go through either the thick Medicare book or the supplement book
Yes.
to actually know what is covered. So the best thing to do is go in, get your hearing screening, find out,
Yes.
and then proceed from there.
Exactly.
But don't just put it off.
And don't be scared.
No, don't be scared. Don't be scared of Shelli.
Yes, don't. I'm not scary.
No. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
For joining us today.
Thank you for
really
having me.
appreciate that. Shelli Carson, Blue Wave Hearing. If you want to contact Blue Wave, I have the telephone number here. It is 479-876-0110, and it's there on the screen. So please call. Please come to the Senior Expo, April 21st. We will be inside Reardon
Yes.
Hall, so we can do hearing screenings. And if you have any questions, just reach out to Blue Wave. They do an amazing job. And please go. Please know. I'm going to take my husband tomorrow. He doesn't know that yet. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next month for Senior Happenings.
Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Bella Vista Community Television Association. DVDs of this program are available by calling 855-4040. You may also find us on YouTube.com by going to Bella Vista Community Television or Bella Vista TV. Thank you for joining us.